Hello, Ectosage here on the Sage channel. It's Sleep, Art, Game, and Eat. And today I'm taking a relatively quick look at the assault rifle, or as they call it, the automatic rifle. And basics of it, it is a relatively simple looking device. If we go into our inventory here, we can actually drop it really quickly and just take a look at it while it lays on the ground. And it's pretty nicely modeled. I doubt they'll update it much. I think they might actually redo the texture, but if they redo the texture, I have a feeling that would be an update that would redo most of the textures. As you can see here, some wonkiness in the texture of this floor panel. So let's pick it back up really quickly. Pressing T. We got it here. And when you zoom in, you right click, and you can see there's actually a second where it takes a zoom in and an interesting sound with it too. But the whole while you can be shooting and you don't have to reload. This is probably because it's an early alpha sort of thing, and also because it is in creative mode. I suspect this might actually stay while you're in creative mode where you would never have to reload, whereas if you're in normal game mode, once they add that in, or survival or whatnot, you would probably have to reload frequently and you'd have to deal with possibly running out of ammo. Now really quickly, I set up this little target course here so we can take a look at its accuracy. And let's see, you can tear through these targets pretty easily, and I got these spinning now because I shot it. And take out that, and you see it pretty quickly tears through that metal and deforms it. And it has, as far as I can tell, pretty much infinite range. So we can just take out whatever we like here. We've broken that. The accuracy does seem to drop a little bit as it gets distant. Farther away, as you can see now, I'm still aiming at the red parts, but if we fly up there, you can see with this one, when I hit, it pretty much just took out the red parts. This one, because the bullet spread, it ended up hitting more of the middle section, actually breaking in half. And this one, you can see it sort of hit more random areas of it. Now if we shoot at that, you can see it easily does break through metal. I can break all this up and actually push it away with the bullets, which is pretty cool. Now if we fly up here, I actually built these things just to show how it can easily cut through stuff. They sort of ended up looking like hangman's nooses, but you can see it deforms little small bricks pretty easily, and of course if you keep shooting them, it'll eventually just break them and then pinches the next brick. And of course you can shoot through stuff and break stuff in half, and this is actually, I think, let's just test this really quickly, a tiny bit faster than if you were to actually try to drill it. Yeah, look at that. That's still pretty quick, but it's less accurate. Whereas if you're just using the gun, you can pretty accurately say, hey, I want to cut through right there, and maybe right there, and now it's pushing it away, whereas when we were drilling this, it didn't even push it away. So that is a plus of maybe using the drill if you don't want to push stuff away. But hey, the gun, at least in creative mode, when you don't have to worry about ammo, is a pretty accurate and fast way to cut stuff up if you want to. What else do we have? Also, I did test it on asteroids up there. I'll really quickly flap through just to show you. Okay, here we are. You currently cannot actually mine with it whatsoever, so this weapon is only good for deforming and damaging proper structures, and not for asteroids in the slightest. As you can see here, I'm unloading into this, and it still remains perfectly shaped. It's not deforming at all or displacing. The little bits of rubble you see flying off are just sort of basic damage particles. They're not actually anything being deformed. Now really quickly, I'm going to fly back to the station down there, and I'll show you what it does when you shoot larger blocks. And here you can see I'm shooting the block and you're not really seeing any damage being done, but if we fly down here, you can see a very slightly dent into it. It takes a long time for it to start doing serious damage. And of course you might notice that the sides aren't just being deformed, but if I shoot off these little things here, you can very quickly see now that the sides can be pulled down more easily. And of course if you shoot the sides, the corners, they'll be pulled down even quicker yet. There we go. And you can actually deform these, and to actually break through one of these pieces of metal takes a very long time, as you can see. So I'm not actually going to sit here and do it, but it is interesting to be able to almost sculpt these pieces of metal using this gun. If I was to fly over here and shoot at these, I believe it does the same exact thing really quickly. So here we go, we're shooting these. You can see, because these have more polygons and vertexes and stuff to be deformed, you can see the deformation happening quicker. But it still takes a long time to do any serious notable damage to these objects. And you can see the inner base of this object is actually a flat block, and that's getting pushed out as the inner blocks actually get pushed in. And in truth, it's not even being pushed out. What's really happening is that, at least I don't believe it's being pushed out. No, it's not. The outer shell of this block is basically all this stuff you see, and on the inside they basically have this block in there, and as we damage the outside, it gets pushed into that inner block. Anyway, the only other thing I really have to show is over here. If I was to shoot at these, Now, these are the sort of barriers that they currently have, and as you can see, they're pretty damn sturdy as you would expect, and I actually suspect they're not actually destructible by this weapon, which makes sense because they are called full cover wall. Now, if we were to take a half cover wall and put it down, I suspect it'll be the same thing because it looks like it's using the same model and or basically the same model. And oh, there we go. We have a glitching gun sound now. Oh boy, let me try to fix that. Alrighty, there we go. Gun firing sound no longer happening. As you can see, that is one of the glitches that you will get because remember the game is in very early alpha, so sometimes you get sounds repeating and stuff like that. But anyway, here we go. When you try to shoot a smaller one, you can see it also is just pretty much resistant to any weapons fire we have. Now we're firing, it looks like, actually through this, so let's really take a look. No, okay, we're not. The smoke is apparently like a centimeter or so behind where we're actually hitting. So for a second I thought the bullets were going through it. I believe that's all we got to show with this currently. The only other thing I'd like to report with this currently though is if you press control, it fires the weapon. So you got to be careful if you're like, oh, I'm building blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh, I really want to copy this. You're like, oh my god, and now you've damaged whatever you were about to copy, which is slightly unfortunate. So you got to be careful with that. And also, if you know you're copying it, which I did Control and C, and you can see the gun fired again. I didn't even press Control here, and I can actually damage the thing I'm holding before I pasted it. Very strange and interesting glitch there, even though I cannot actually interact with anything I just broken off with that piece, but indeed that piece that broke off was real. So if I was to copy one of these pieces and paste it with left mouse, of course the gun's going to fire when I use left mouse. So you got to be careful if you're copying and pasting. If you have this out, you're going to accidentally end up damaging your stuff. Anyway, thanks a bunch for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Now, if only these weapons worked. Oh.